Football's a game, sure. But here in Texas, it's really more of an idea. An idea that can teach you what matters in life. An idea that can take you to places you never thought you'd go. Well, now, they've come here. The perfect place for one of the most important moments of their lives. The moment this game, this idea, becomes more than ever who they are.
I don't know what role football doesn't play in the life of Texans.
It's just unreal. There's nothing else like it.
As soon as your cleats hit the turf, you feel the buzz.
We live for football in Texas. It's just that simple.
Welcome to football's heart and football's soul. The NFL Draft in Texas. It just sounds right, doesn't it?
All right, all right, all right. The Browns are on the clock right now. It's the 2018 NFL Draft presented by Verizon, live on NFL Network and Fox. Steve Mariucci, Troy Aikman, and Steve Smith will join us shortly as we're looking at the Honda War Room cam looking in on the Browns. And the draft party all nervous. What will the Browns do first overall? Will it be Baker Mayfield? Will it be Sam Darnold? The thought coming out of the combine was that it could be Saquon Barkley.
Let's set the tone for a second, okay? If you're John Dorsey and you're the new general manager of the Cleveland Browns, this first pick of yours sets the tone for your franchise. It shows all the players in the locker room what a new Cleveland Brown looks like and smells like by your definition. So you got to get this thing right. The guy's got to be great off the field. He's got to be great in your locker room. He's going to help you set the culture for the future. And when I look at that and I look at the quarterback position, which it has to be, from my perspective, the guy with the highest ceiling and the highest floor is Sam Darnold. And I also know he's the guy that will be in there grinding away in the morning and at night.
With the first pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Baker Mayfield.
Wow.
Quarterback, Oklahoma.
It is Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield, quarterback, the 2017 Heisman Trophy winner.
Mayfield floats it. There he is. He's just playing a lot of good football right now.
Oh, my word. Baker Mayfield.
From my perspective, he was the number 4 overall quarterback, right? But I know John Dorsey, and from John Dorsey's perspective, John's got a little swag, and he likes swag. He likes confidence. This kid's a competitor. If you're looking at the plus side of him, you know, he's under 6'1". He finds lanes to throw. He's thick in the chest. He's highly accurate. Playmaker, highly accurate on the move. His character has cut both ways in different buildings with GMs and head coaches I've talked with. Against Texas, little pump fake, throws him open into the secondary, wide open. I like him best, though, when he's on the move. Little fake, play action, plenty of time in the red zone, pulls it down, rolls left, great throw. He throws the wide receiver open to the back line of the end zone. Again, highly accurate, pump fake, and trust me, he's an athlete. He might not run 4.5. He's an athletic, competitive kid. He's going to light up the locker room. What I don't like is he misses a lot of underneath coverage, especially when the pocket collapses.
With the pick of the Giants, and they're booing the Giants. They're booing the Giants here in Dallas.
Let's go with that.
With the second pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Saquon Barkley, running back, Penn State.
So one of the most dynamic running backs we have seen come out of college. He gets a hug from his coach at Penn State and James Franklin to the New York Giants and play in New York City and the New York metropolitan area. Wow. Big night for Saquon a couple of nights after he becomes a newborn dad. Mike?
Best football player in this draft. 6 feet, 233 pounds. What I love about what he's going to do for New York, and Rich, you touched on a little bit, he's going to make the quarterback better day one. You also shorten the game for your defense, so you help your defense, and you also help your offensive line. He's powerful. His lower body is unbelievable. Watch this run against Iowa, USC. Double jump cut, now the cut back. He's breaking ankles everywhere. At 233 pounds, he runs 4.4. Lower body. We will talk about a powerful man. Watch him run through tackles, and then that 4.4 speed to the edge. You want to play a man-to-man with a safety or running back? Forget about it. A little stick-nod route makes it easy for his quarterback. He's got the ability to split wide like a Le'Veon Bell in the pass game. The only thing you can possibly say on the negative side is he tries to make too many big runs, and sometimes...
Could it be deja vu all over again?
With the third pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Sam Darnold, quarterback, USC.
So there he is, 20 years old.
And I've got to be honest with you. I think the Jets have hit on a quarterback that can play early. But the beauty of the situation right now with the Jets is because they re-signed Josh McCown. They can play him when he's ready to play. It's a little bit like Carson Wentz a couple of years ago with the Eagles. They had Sam Bradford. If it took him a year, it was okay. If it took him 8 games, it was okay. He's the consummate playmaker. He keeps his eyes up to extend the plays. The only downside, ball security is an issue at USC. I love when he extends the play. He's looking left. He feels it back right, though. Steps up into the pocket. Look at the eyes. Stay up. Now throw him open on the back line of the end zone. That is a beautiful throw into a tight window. Play action on the run. Highly accurate on the run. Great throw. Touchdown. And again, is he an athlete? Scored 20-plus points a game in high school basketball. 3-sport star. He can beat you with his legs. The downside, ball security in the pocket. Way too loose. Now, when that ball gets kicked out in the pocket like this, he's got to clean it up.
You talk about the turnovers, those were problematic. He had 22 turnovers just this past season in 13 games alone. I believe that those are things that can be coached out of a young player.
Their second choice, this is the one they acquired from the Texans when the Texans moved up to get their franchise quarterback, Deshaun Watson, last year.
With the fourth pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Denzel Ward, defensive back, Ohio State.
Okay, so another surprise from the Browns.
It's always what you hear early in the process, Mike. Quarterback and corner were the priorities when John Dorsey got there. We traveled a winding road, but that's exactly where we ended up.
And think about it, this was a need. This was a big need more than defensive end was a need for them. Even though I still believe the better football player is Chubb, they fit a need with a big-time athlete. A couple of years ago, a Super Bowl, how'd they win the Super Bowl, Coach?
Rushing the passer. And you can see Bradley Chubb joining the Denver Broncos and having a chance to get him right back there again.
And they got Nelson or Chubb, two of the best 3 position players in the draft, staring them right in the face.
With me tonight to announce Denver's pick is Austin, who is a St. Jude patient. Austin is 17 and an aspiring broadcaster from New Mexico and a big Broncos fan. Austin has benefited from the care teams at St. Jude and is an inspiration to all of us. Okay, Austin, let's show them how it's done.
With the 5th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Bradley Chubb, defensive end, NC State.
And again, this young man from NC State, when he heard how much Von Miller was impressed by his game, he was a fan.
Chubb, Von Miller, former first-round pick Shane Ray going into they've got to make a decision on him on his 5th-year option by May 3rd. But the 3 of them getting after quarterbacks in a sub-package, wow.
As this guy knows how to hunt, and the top edge rusher is now on the same line as Von Miller.
Call him 6'4", 270. He sets a physical edge in the run game. Violent hands. Impacts the quarterback in the pass game. And I think he's going to have a similar rookie impact as Joey Bosa did as a rookie. But here's the conversation right now in their room. It's everything you just said about Quentin Nelson, which I believe in, versus whether or not Roquan Smith, who a lot of people believe is a generational player at inside linebacker. Okay, I think that's the conversation in that room. I believe the offensive lineman trumps all to protect Andrew Luck.
I love Roquan Smith, but they've been trying to fix this offensive line for forever, and coach might run off the stage if we don't take one.
The Indianapolis Colts select Quintin Nelson, guard, Notre Dame.
And it's north and south. Look at that gap.
Quintin Nelson, offensive guard, a 2017 Outland Trophy finalist.
Quintin Nelson dominating the line of scrimmage.
The Buffalo Bills have traded up and made a deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's right, Rich. The Bills did not want to give up both first-round picks, and they have stuck to that. I'm told they're giving up 2 second-round picks and number 12 for the right to come up to 7. Is it going to be Josh Rosen or Josh Allen? That is the choice right now for the Buffalo Bills. They believe, get their quarterback of the future.
They're trading up to get a quarterback. We know that. And let's look at their quarterback situation. A.J. McCarron. We have a 2-year, $10 million contract. That's not forever, all right? That's not like Case Keenum with $25 million guaranteed. So who's the best player right now that could take it and learn as quick as possible to take over this starting job? To me, it's Josh Rosen, because he's a smart guy that comes from a heck of a system. He seems a little bit more ready to do this right away, Troy.
Well, what I would say, first of all, kudos to Brandon Beane. He knew last year that the quarterbacks were going to be heavy in this draft. He traded down last year in order to give himself an opportunity. He had to move up. That fan base wanted a quarterback out of this draft. As far as who are they going to take, I like Josh Rosen. He was number 2 on my board coming into this draft, but I believe they're going to take Josh Allen. I think he fits that Buffalo market better. I think with the big, strong arm, he's going to be playing in tough conditions. I just have a feeling that he's a better fit.
The Buffalo Bills select Josh Allen, quarterback, Wyoming.
So the kid from Fresno who played his college ball in Wyoming is going to Western New York, hoping for all Bills fans that he is the second coming somehow, some way of Jim Kelly to bring a Super Bowl trophy to the Lombardi Star fans there in Western New York. Mike, your thoughts?
Couple of things. Number one, I give them a lot of credit for being patient, not going all the way up to 2, giving away all their draft capital. They let the game come to them at number 7, and they got their guy. Number 2, think about the culture in that locker room. That's an important thing for Sean McDonough and Brandon Beane. They got rid of a lot of players. This is their kind of player. He's got crazy arm talent. Play action, under center. Watch him climb the pocket and look at this arrow. Bang. This next throw is one of my favorite of all time. Climb the pocket, make a guy miss. Roll left. Now rolling left, throw it 40 yards into a tiny window in the corner of the end zone. And then what kind of athlete at 6'5", 237 pounds? Quarterback counter, quarterback power, quarterback keep. They ran it all day long. The issue with him, sometimes he throws the ball late. Anticipation, timing, and accuracy. Josh Jackson picked them off cleanly. I think he's a project. Like a lot of big arm quarterbacks, I think he's going to take some learning to know when to throw the football, get it out, throw it early. And he's got to work on the accuracy, guys.
It's because everything is on a line and hard. So when you watch him, I actually see a little bit of what you saw with Cam Newton as a thrower. When you watch Cam Newton throw the ball, everything is on a line and it's flat. With Josh Allen, it's the exact same way. When he has to layer the ball over a linebacker, under a safety, he struggles with some of that. You see here his movement skills that he has. That's him as an athlete. You love that. But, Coach, he's still got a ways to go before he is a consistent passer.
And you can see with the video of Carson Wentz on the screen, he had virtually the same exact measurables.
With the 8th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Roquan Smith, linebacker, Georgia.
Well, Coach Shaw, you showed me a tweet moments ago that Vic Fangio had a hole-in-one today, right? Playing golf?
Absolutely. This is being one heck of a day for defense coordinator Vic Fangio.
It's a double ace day. He's got pocket rockets here.
He was with us at Stanford and gets a hole-in-one today early in the morning. And today finds out he's got the best linebacker in the draft. And some would say one of the top 2 or 3 players in this draft, Mike.
And, Coach, I would tell you that the MVP of Chicago's defense last year was actually Vic Fangio. They were number 9 in the league in points allowed with not a lot of talent. They need this kind of talent infusion. He's today's NFL off-the-ball linebacker.
And then there's the Dolphins who are sitting out there, or it might be a home for Rosen. At any rate, let's get the Niners pick.
With the 9th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Mike Mcglinchey, offensive tackle, Notre Dame.
All right, so some muscle, some protection for Jimmy G. Protect that monster investment that they made in their new quarterback. Mike?
Yeah, 6'8", 309 pounds. He is a flat back pile driver in the run game. He's got the work ethic and passion of his cousin, Matt Ryan. He'll set a tone both in the offensive line room and a culture in the locker room. Left tackle's got nasty to him, heavy hands. I've known this kid since he was 15 years old, and when he gets his hands locked on you and can anchor down, it's all over. Again, punch, anchor down, drop your hips, that's easy. Occasionally, he will break down in the pass game. Against Georgia, he gets that left arm pinned by Davenport. Big play at the end of the game, but trust me, he learns from his mistakes. He is the cleanest tackle in this draft.
What do you think's going on with Josh Rosen, Troy?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I thought that he would have been off the board by now, but I think right now, looking at this San Francisco pick, I really like it. I think when you look at the fact they were able to bring in Jimmy Garoppolo last year, a second-round pick, where he would have ranked in this draft, he obviously would have gone pretty high. But now you secure that offensive line, a team that gave up too many sacks. Now they're going to try to protect this franchise quarterback.
Oakland Raiders have had a very active draft room. They're getting calls from two teams. First of all, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers potentially coming up for a defensive player. Keep an eye on the Arizona Cardinals to trade up potentially for a quarterback. In fact, I am now told the Arizona Cardinals are in fact on the clock.
That's correct, sir. They hot changed the graphic behind you. All right, who could it be for? Is it for Rosen or?
It's gotta be. Yeah.
Okay.
Gotta be. It's Josh Rosen, and you know, they wanted to get ahead of Miami just in case. I happen to believe, I agree with Troy. I think Adam Gase thinks he can win with Tannehill. But Steve Keim makes the move up to number 10. I don't know what it cost them yet, but at the end of the day, remember, they had Carson Palmer for an awful lot of years. Big arm quarterback. Steve Keim believes in that, and I think it's going to be Josh Rosen.
Well, you've been saying for the last several weeks, Mike, that the comparison that you make based on Rosen's injury history is Sam Bradford. Guess who he'd be right behind on the quarterback depth chart in Arizona? Third-round pick and a fifth-round pick is what the Raiders acquired.
With the 10th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Josh Rosen, quarterback, UCLA.
Okay, so after several years of having a USC quarterback at the controls, they will now hand the future at some point off to UCLA quarterback Josh Rosen.
It sounds like, and it seems like you want to prove something right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Chips only growing bigger.
Yeah, I can tell you're a little deterred, and I like that. Keep that chip on your shoulder and ball out, man. I'm proud of you.
I got you. Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Here's Josh Rosen out of Manhattan Beach, so he doesn't have to travel too far to play his professional ball.
Beautiful natural thrower, understands concepts and design. We talked about the Sam Bradford comparison, both because he throws the ball beautifully and he's got a history of injury. Watch the balance. Play action, gets on his toes, and maybe it's the tennis player that he was growing up. He's always on balance. Clear vision, clean feet. Look at the throw in between the corner and the safety. He is a beautiful natural thrower. Play action again, this time. Watch him look the safety off to the left. He moves the safety with his eyes. Now he's gonna come back and throw skinny post to the right. Resets his feet, falls out quickly, beautiful release. Now he takes a lot of hits, climbs the pocket, takes a hit, but watch where the throw goes. And I maintain he takes too many hits, and in the NFL he's gonna have to learn how to protect himself. But at the end of the day, if he stays healthy, the Arizona Cardinals have a big-time quarterback.
But he has the highest football IQ of these quarterbacks that are going in this first round. He had 3 different offensive coordinators at UCLA in 3 years. Learning the playbook in Arizona will not be a problem for him. Mike McCoy is going to be terrific for him and allowing him to do the things that he does best and challenge him.
With the 11th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, The Miami Dolphins select Minka Fitzpatrick, defensive back, Alabama.
All right, so they get a little back end of the defense help.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate that.
Which one was Don Johnson? I can't remember.
Nice look at him. Minka Fitzpatrick.
He's 6 feet, 204 pounds, and he can literally play any position back there. 9 interceptions career, 4 taken back for a touchdown. He's got free safety range. I think he can match slots and tight ends. In other words, man-to-man coverage, drop down and cover a slot, and be physical enough to cover that tight end. Here he comes, working underneath all the way across the field. When you talk to Nick Saban about this kid, Nick Saban lights up. Nick Saban started him as a rare starting true freshman defensive back. Watch him feel the crackback block, spin into the tackle. They worked him in the box this year. I think you have to have a plan for him. He's got free safety range, but where are you going to play him so he gets around the football more often? Alabama last year had him in the box a lot. They have 3 picks in the second round. I think this is Derwin James, the safety, or possibly Jair Alexander.
With the 12th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Vita Vea, defensive tackle, Washington.
Oh, yeah, double V.
They reworked that entire front of their defense. They were number 32 in almost every defensive category. I thought for sure they were going defensive back there, DJ.
Yeah, this is a team that couldn't rush the passer at all last year. Last in sacks. They made the move, though, to go get JPP to put him in that mix. Now you look, they were last against the pass, last in third down, last in sacks, last in total defense. There's a lot of guys that could help them, and Vita Vea can help him in both areas.
He can move. You can't move him in the run game. Reminds me a lot of Haloti Ngata. I think, DJ, you were in that war room when Baltimore drafted him. And look at the hump move right there in the middle. The Reggie White hump move. That's what he does best. When he's fresh, when he's not tired and plays with leverage, he can be special. Really, look at him just control the middle and 2 gap. That looks like Stanford to me, David Shaw.
Oh, I saw a lot of this guy.
And again, double team against Stanford. Stays low, gets under it, throws everybody off, collects a bunch of trash, and finishes the tackle. Look at him on the punt team against Penn State in the bowl game. He ran a 5.1 40 at 3:47. 2 things. He's got to control his weight, number 1, and the true value of this guy is how many snaps he gets in your sub package.
That's a heck of a defensive line being built down there.
With the 13th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Washington Redskins select Deron Payne, defensive tackle, Alabama.
Prototypical Alabama 5 technique or defensive end, defensive tackle. He's the premier run stuffer along with Vea in this class. He can affect the quarterback. I thought the upside he showed in the pass game versus Georgia was his best game of the season. Look at the get off in the flat back right there. Drives that center 3 yards in the backfield and makes the play. As the season progressed, he got better and better in the pass game, but look at the double team. Saban's defensive ends do that as well as anybody in the country. They're well taught, they understand role responsibility, and there's that get off again in the championship game against Georgia. He was dominant. He got sacks, he got hits on the quarterback. You can't run the football against him. And look at him get the edge against the center that time and get up the field, DJ.
Yeah, he's going to join his college teammate, going in there with Jonathan Allen, who they took last year. They're recreating that Alabama defensive line in Washington.
We have a trade. Saints moving up to 14. Tell us about it.
Rich, Mooch, the Saints give up a first-rounder from next year. 2 possible targets. I'll give you 1, Louisville quarterback Lamar Jackson, who was in the Saints building and they love. Here's another name to watch. Pass rusher Marcus Davenport from UTSA. They consider him freakish. They believe he is the final piece to their team. That is a possibility here, Mike Mayock.
Yeah, I really believe that it's going to be quarterback Lamar Jackson. And I believe it for several reasons. Number one, Sean Payton is an outside-the-box thinker. Number two, they have a backup quarterback by the name of Taysom Hill on that roster. Ran 4.4 from BYU. If you're going to commit your entire building to a new scheme and a new philosophy once Drew Brees retires, and that's more the college scheme, then you better have two of them in case one gets hurt. So Taysom Hill, Lamar Jackson, I believe, will be the quarterbacks of the future for the New Orleans Saints. And I think Sean Payton is excited.
This could be a huge move for the Saints. You get one of the most creative play callers, and now you give him somebody like Lamar Jackson. It's endless, the possibilities, what you could do in that backfield.
You don't trade a number one in a future year's draft for anything other than a quarterback, right?
I don't think so. And I think Sean Payton, like last year, I had a conversation with Sean last year about Kamara, and he knew how he was going to use him. I had a conversation this year with Sean 2 weeks ago about Lamar Jackson, and he knows how he's going to use him. Trust me.
What a fun moment this is.
With the 14th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Marcus Davenport, defensive end, Texas San Antonio.
So it was Marcus Davenport, not the quarterback. And here we were talking about Sean Payton's next offensive step.
Ian, I apologize, my brother. 264 pounds. And when you're talking about an edge rusher, DJ, he's raw but gifted. I love his motor, his body type, and how raw he is coming out of school reminds me a lot of Ziggy Ansah.
He's big and explosive. He has no plan as a pass rusher, but he's still been productive. I think he's got a lot of room to grow.
Okay, so the Raiders are on the clock, and Lamar Jackson is still in the green room.
Wow. My bad, folks.
What a night so far, and we're not even halfway through the first round. And a coach that's known for just rolling the dice. Maybe this is his version of the onside kick in the Super Bowl right there. Just surprised everybody, and he just goes for it. That's what just happened. Now it's time for the second first pick of John Gruden's tenure in Oakland. When he first made his first pick as the Oakland Raider head coach, that pick was Charles Woodson.
Wow.
Let's see what they come up with here after trading down from 10 to allow the Cardinals to move up to select Josh Rosen.
With the 15th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Oakland Raiders select Colton Miller, offensive tackle, UCLA.
You can plug him in, I believe. Now, he could start on the right side, DJ, but he's 6'8.5". He's got a great athlete. He only answered the bell 23 times in 3 years. Durability is a concern.
So making the uniforms in the back right there. The Bills just traded up with the Ravens. And now they've moved from 22, which they got in last year's draft for the Patrick Mahomes trade for the Chiefs. They used that 22 to go up to 16 and giving the Ravens an extra third-round pick tomorrow night. Let's figure out what they're doing this for, you think?
Look, Brandon Beane has been really active. I like what they've done so far. If they go offense, I think it has to be a wide receiver, either Ridley or DJ Moore. But the higher-ranked players are still on defense. DJ, there's Tremaine Edmonds, Jair Alexander, Derwin James, who's the highest-ranked player on the board right now. So you would think it'd be a defensive player, but I think it's wide receiver if they go on the other side.
With the 16th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Tremaine Edmonds, linebacker, Virginia Tech.
19 years old and all grown up at 19. This is a stout defensive player. This barrel-chested 19-year-old young man coming out of the green room right now.
253. Guys, he ran 4.54 at the combine. Doesn't turn 20 until May 2nd.
Wow.
He's got this rare size and skill set that gives him a sub-package versatility that is unknown in today's game. Watch him chase people down. Look at him run. Look how smooth he is at 253 pounds. Again, track. Watch him track the quarterback now. Inside out. There's the 4.5 speed. So we've established speed. How about in the flat? Open field against Walton, the scat back from Miami. Can he pivot and drive on a slant route and break it up? And now off the edge. Again, he pivots, makes the tackle in the open field. He is a super freak. He's super freaky.
Wow.
To me, he's a lot like Anthony Barr, the way you've watched him, how he's been used with the Minnesota Vikings. That type of size and length and range is a huge asset in the middle of the field. But this is the philosophy they're going with. They play in Buffalo. They want big dudes. They got the biggest quarterback, and now they just added the biggest linebacker. Steve, what do you got?
When you look at this kid, he's young, but he dissects a play, and he hits the destroy button. He has sideline to sideline range. He's 19 years old. And Coach McDermott, having a coach, Luke Kuechly, he knows how valuable having a smart linebacker, but a physical linebacker can help your defense and make the world of a difference for your whole team.
They have not re-signed Trey Boston. They've had a hole at safety. It's one of their biggest needs. And somehow, I never thought he'd slide there. I think you sprint that thing up, and it's Derwin James.
Well, they have taken 6.5 minutes on the clock right now.
With the 17th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Derwin James, defensive back, Florida State.
Excited?
Man, I'm happy, man. Let's do it. I'm ready to go to work.
Did you get it? 10 minutes short. Did you get a little upset back there in the back? Like,
I feel like 16 teams, they tried me, but, you know, I'm coming in and work. You know, I'm happy that the Chargers came and got me, man. Like I said, I'm coming in, and I got something to prove.
Can you tell them what college you came from, man?
What you say?
What college did you come from?
Florida State University.
DBU, Florida State, baby.
Green Bay just traded up. So again, Green Bay was 14th overall, but traded down so the Saints could come up. What do you think this is about?
Well, let's keep in mind, Brian Gutekunst, the new GM for Green Bay, a little different than what we've seen over the year with Ted Thompson was a stay-in-your-lane guy. Gutekunst is going back, coming back up. My gut tells me it's either a wide receiver, again, Ridley, DJ Moore in the conversation, or a corner, Jair Alexander, Mike Hughes. I would think if they go corner, it's Jair Alexander.
And to get ahead of the Cowboys, I lean towards receiver a little bit because you think the Cowboys might be in that market.
With the 18th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Jair Alexander, defensive back, Louisville.
Watching this guy, I thought about the Honey Badger. He's a little undersized, but he's all over the field making plays in the run and the pass.
I mean, he's 5'10 and a quarter, 196. He plays bigger, Coach.
Yes,
and that's what I like about him. He competes in tackles. Length can be an issue. You see guys going over top and taking the football. He's a double-cut punt returner. That means he can make two people miss. That's a new one for you, Rich.
I like it.
And here's the XO. And all I really want you to see is this is against Clemson when he was healthy 2 years ago. Look at him get to the football, 2 interceptions. Let's see if he'll force a fumble here. Strip the ball out. He's a playmaker everywhere, including the punt return game. Will he compete as a tackler? Oh, yeah.
These guys are crazy out here. The Cowboys are second in the league in rushing, but they're 26th in passing. Come on, we need a receiver right here. Troy, you got to score some points, don't you, to beat the Eagles? One of these receivers, Ridley, DJ Moore, or Sutton, ought to be their pick, don't you think?
Well, I think if you look at this, though, Mooch, the guys who have been the impact wide receivers in the first round have been first 10 picks. It's not a good history of success with rookie receivers late in the first round. Having said that, yes, the Cowboys need a wide receiver. They lost Des Bryant. They need speed. And I think if they're going to take one, it's going to be DJ Moore out of Maryland ahead of Calvin Ridley. If they don't take a wide receiver, I could see him going after a linebacker and someone on the defensive side of the ball. But if they stick offense, I'm going with DJ Moore.
Targeting for weeks now, if they go defense, is Boise State linebacker Laden Vandura, whose film stood out, who the Cowboys have known is going to be a first-round pick for weeks. They did a final check today on his neck just to make sure that a stinger he got a couple years back was fine. I am told they believed it was no issue at all medically. This is a player the Cowboys have loved.
Everybody is standing. Anybody who showed up in a Cowboy uniform here tonight is standing, eager to find out who that brass that we're seeing on the Honda War Room cam in Frisco, Texas.
I think they need some size. So in my head, it's Cortland Sutton or it's DJ Moore.
Leighton Vander Esch is pretty intriguing, though. When you pair him up with Jalen Smith, those are two young, athletic linebackers you'd have here.
I think Leighton Vander Esch is the best zone drop linebacker I've seen since Kuechly coming out of college.
With the 19th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Leighton Vander Esch, linebacker, Boise State.
All right. So a little bit of the blue turf coming here.
He finds a way to get under and over blocks in the run game, but in the pass game, I think he's special. I've never seen a linebacker since Kuechly understand crossing routes, how to get deep on a Tampa 2 coverage, and he's got eyes everywhere. Look at him, 6'4 and a quarter, 256. Like I said, 20 pounds heavier than the other premier off-the-ball linebackers in this draft. Best zone feel in the draft. He's got a very quick read and react. He can get stuck on big bodies. I'd like to see just a little more thump and physicality, but he's got this great feel to get under and over potential blockers. Watch him, inside zone. He's going to read and mirror the running back and drive to the tackle. Look at him get underneath and use leverage to win on the goal line. Remember, penetration's the key in short yardage and goal line. And then again, the ability to get under and around the football in the pass game, I think, is the key to him. He plays on third down. Look at the hustle. How many yards downfield to try and strip and make a tackle? Leighton Vandura is a 3-down linebacker.
By the way, I do want to interrupt here that moments ago, the Raiders traded their 75th overall pick, 3rd round to the Pittsburgh Steelers for Martavis Bryant. Whoa. So there they go.
How about that? That's interesting.
That is a Martavis Bryant trade to the Oakland Raiders. What do you think of that one?
What did they give up?
They gave up a 75th overall selection, 3rd round pick.
Wow. Well, for that 3rd round pick, I thought that's outstanding. You'd love to get a guy like that in the 3rd round. That's
Oakland
huge.
traded back to get some extra picks and then making a move like this.
So it's amazing. The first wide receiver acquired in tonight's draft is Martavis Bryant.
There hasn't been any impact wide receiver since the 14 draft, with the exception of Amari Cooper, drafted in the 1st round. And the way teams are looking at wideouts is not just comparing them to wideouts, but to tight ends and running backs, and they're saying, who's the most dynamic football player? Forget the label, and the wide receivers are getting pushed down because of that.
Zach Cunningham, who's now playing for the Houston Texans when he was coming out of Vanderbilt, very similar, long levered guys, very productive and instinctive. You see him stick his face right in there. He's physical, but then he has that range, that length to make plays sideline to sideline. And we've seen Zach Cunningham make some plays early on in his career for the Houston Texans.
With the 20th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Frank Ragnow, center, Arkansas.
And Lamar Jackson still on the board. What are your thoughts on that, Daniel Jeremiah?
This is one of the teams we mentioned with them when we're talking about where could Lamar Jackson potentially land in this draft. The Bengals, the Ravens, the Saints, we thought were doing it. They didn't do it. And the Patriots. So we're getting ready to come up on a bunch of these teams right here.
Well, which one do you think is most likely?
For Lamar Jackson?
Yeah.
I just think that New England and Bill Belichick are so far outside the box, they have to consider it. And I think Bill Belichick would have a plan for that kid that would make a ton of sense.
The Cincinnati Bengals select Billy Price, center, Ohio State.
All right, so back-to-back centers go off the board here.
And Price can play all 3 interior offensive line positions.
The Tennessee Titans just moved up and got a 6th round selection from Baltimore, who moved 3 spots down and improved their 6th round pick into a 4th round selection.
Yep.
So they're amassing some picks, and Baltimore has now moved down twice tonight. What do you think the Titans coming up to go get, Mike?
I think the most logical guy is the last, quote, 1st round edge guy in this draft, and that's Harold Landry from Boston College. Keep in mind, they're 2 edge guys. They play a 34 base. It's an outside linebacker position with Arakpo and Morgan. Both of them are in their 30s. Both are in contract years. Now, on top of that, at linebacker, they've got a need. Rashaan Evans or even wide receiver Calvin Ridley. I think they're the 3.
With the 22nd pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Rashaan Evans, linebacker, Alabama.
But keep in mind with Tennessee what they have at linebacker. Wesley Woodyard, 32 years old. They signed Will Compton from Washington, and Jayon Brown is more of a dime guy, so he's a starter day 1.
And it's been an interesting offseason, obviously, with Malcolm Butler and Dion Lewis both winding up with Mike Vrabel and the Titans. Nate Solder is now protecting Eli. That was one of the biggest pieces the Giants have added. What do you think's going on up there in the home of the defending AFC champs?
I'm not sure anybody knows except them, first of all. I think we have to throw Lamar Jackson's name out there at some point with New England, just because Bill's an outside-the-box thinker with a 41-year-old quarterback. The way I look at this, they could go corner. Mike Evans would be a logical player right here. There are several interior offensive linemen, including James Daniels, who plays at Iowa. And trust me, Bill Belichick trusts Iowa players because Kirk Ferentz used to coach for him. DJ and David, what do you think?
I think guard makes a lot of sense, but you look at the way they played defense last year, to add another pass rush, add another corner, to add another linebacker, just to have more athleticism on the defensive side makes a lot of sense to me.
To me, Mike Hughes, the corner, is the best player available right now, and it does fit a need here for the New England Patriots. I think that makes a lot of sense, the corner out of Central Florida. What do you think, Mooch?
Butler's not there anymore, so the corner Mike Hughes or a Josh Jackson type guy, I don't think they're going to address the quarterback thing here in the first round. I think they're going to wait. Maybe it's a Lamar Jackson later on, or a Mason Rudolph, or a Kyle Laletta, or a Luke Falk, but I don't think it's right now. They have other team needs, whether it's in the offensive line or at corner. Troy?
Yeah, I just don't see Bill Belichick going with a quarterback right here in Lamar Jackson, but like Mike Mayock said, you never can really bet against what Belichick might do. He might be able to use him in some other positions, even though he wants to be a quarterback. I understand that. I think they lose Nate Solder. They could very well go with Connor Williams out of Texas at the tackle position. And I agree, their pass defense last year really struggled. They did pick up McCourty this past offseason. Mike Hughes, I think, at corner would be a great pick for him.
Talk about Lamar Jackson. I am told he visited pretty secretly with the Patriots early in the process. Then they flew out and worked him out. The reviews were positive. I'm told they were intrigued. And when I talked to defensive coordinators around the league, they thought it would be the most Belichick move ever, taking a look from the college game here. The only other thing is, Rich, as I sent it to you, they did lose Nate Solder in the offseason. That is a huge hole to fill.
The New England Patriots select Isaiah Wynn, tackle, Georgia.
Wow. They said tackle, Mike. Yeah. They didn't say guard. They said tackle.
They announced him as a tackle. Most of the league looks at him as a guard, but he fits what Dante Scarnecchia, the offensive line coach at New England Patriots, looks for. He's under 6'3". He's a left tackle conversion for most of the league. However, in New England, he might be a left tackle. He pops out of his stance. He fits a zone scheme.
The Carolina Panthers are on the clock, and you know what? They're 28th in passing offense and 18th in pass defense. Those are their two weaknesses that they need to address in some way. Guys, do they go with a corner like a Mike Hughes, or do they go with one of those receivers? All the receivers are available, Steve.
I mean, Mike Hughes is a great pick, but I don't believe that they're gonna get a wide receiver. They have to get a wide receiver. You don't let Calvin Ridley and DJ Moore pass. You don't pass those two guys up. I believe that the next two picks will be wide receivers. They can shock me with a corner, but I doubt it, because these guys, DJ Moore, what he brings to the table, he's catching unbelievable passes. He's done that with a backup quarterback and then a backup quarterback, and he's put up great numbers.
So you think your next two picks are your last two teams, huh? The Panthers and Baltimore, both receivers?
Yes.
Hey, well, you look at this and you see what's happened with the Carolina Panthers, and they trade Kelvin Benjamin last year in the middle of the season. Devin Funchess becomes their go-to guy. They've got some young players that are talented, but they're inexperienced. They go out this offseason, they pick up Torrey Smith, they got some threat down the field, and then, of course, Julius Wright, who's a slot receiver. Norv Turner has taken over as the offensive coordinator. They're getting ready to implement a passing game unlike anything Cam Newton has seen so far in his career. I would be shocked if they don't take a wide receiver here. I like DJ Moore.
The Carolina Panthers select DJ Moore, wide receiver, Maryland.
DJ Moore's way, who leaps up and makes the grab. The 2017 Big Ten Richter Howard Receiver of the Year, DJ Moore, wide receiver.
He's got all kinds. He was a fast riser throughout the draft. 8 different quarterbacks in 3 years. Run after catch like a running back. He's got to learn how to run routes a little bit. I think Steve Stiff could help him a little bit. Look at him run through the defensive end. When the ball's in his hands, he thinks he's better than anybody else on that field. Is he a little bit raw? Yeah, but strong hands. He ran in the low 4.4s. Good catch over, natural catcher of the football. Strong hands up in the air. He rips it away from people, back of the end zone, plays bigger than 6 feet.
So the Ravens are, I mean, they need a receiver. There's one from Alabama. This is Ozzie Newsome's final first-round draft choice as a general manager. I mean, does this have Calvin Ridley written all over it?
It really could. We've talked about this. This could also be Lamar Jackson. With Ozzie's last pick, maybe he picks the quarterback of the future, or he takes that receiver from Alabama.
I agree. There are 2 names I had on my head, David. Exact same 2.
I keep an eye on tight end, too. I think they were smart. If it is a tight end, they were smart because they didn't need to take him where they were initially picking. So to trade back, get some extra picks, get some value if they do choose to go in that direction, they'll have their choice of the tight ends.
Which one do you like?
For me, it's Hayden Hurst from South Carolina. I don't know where you are on that one, Mike.
At tight end? Yeah. I've got Hayden Hurst as #1 tight end. I still think it probably will be Ridley, though. My gut.
Rich, first of all, you guys may have been on the money with the Ravens. One of their plans going into the draft was to trade back and take a tight end. So we'll see if that's what they end up doing. But it is a potential landing spot for Lamar Jackson. They were having these conversations. Baltimore was, what would our offense look like with Lamar Jackson? What would we have to change? Which is basically everything. A couple other possible landing spots. The Jacksonville Jaguars, who have Blake Bortles just on a short deal. I'm told they have a little bit of interest. And then, of course, there is the Patriots, who did visit with him twice. They're still lurking at 31.
With the 25th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Hayden Hurst.
There you go,
tight
DJ.
End, South Carolina.
Smart way to maneuver around the board, right, Mike?
Yeah, that's classic Ozzie and Eric DeCosta, moving down twice, get the guy for the right value, 6'4.5", 250 from South Carolina. He was a Pirates pitcher, got the yips, all of a sudden became a football player, natural hand snatcher. You can see it from his baseball ability. Willing competitor in the run game, and I think that's important in Baltimore, that you've got to commit to run block also. So he can play outside, use his body, pivot to get away from a safety, catches the ball really easily and naturally. Coming down on a little RPO in the open field. Now look, he's an athlete, folks. He ran 4.67, but I think he plays faster. They even hand him the football on the end around. Drops to pad level and finishes. And there it is with the cut block. He is a willing participant in the run game, and that's why the Ravens like him. By the way, do you guys remember, I know you do, Ozzie Newsome's first 2 picks as a GM when they went from Cleveland to Baltimore?
Yeah. Ray Lewis, Jonathan Ogden, not bad.
So unless somebody comes from the 2nd round from tomorrow night to come up tonight to select Lamar Jackson, the Falcons on the clock are not going to be that team. And then the Seahawks after that, not going to be that team. Then the Steelers after them, not going to be that team. I don't think. Do you? Is there like an outside shot here?
I'd say outside. There's been some conversation what they could do with that type of quarterback and how long will Ben be around. But I would call it a very much an outside shot. Ian talked about
the Jaguars,
Jackson, which makes some sense.
At 29, the Vikings are not going to be that team. And there's the Patriots, and then obviously the Eagles sitting at 32, not going to be that team. But that is the spot where somebody might want to come back in and get that 5th year of contractual control that comes with the first-round selection.
The Eagles want out at 32.
Yeah, they do.
For sale. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Steve Mariucci, you have the floor.
Well, look at that guy all dressed up in that green. He's having a good time back there, hoping he gets picked today. Very capable quarterback. He can run like a deer. What I see is this kid is very coachable. He has improved each year. He's learning how to play from the pocket. If that's where an athletic quarterback needs to improve, he's done that. He will take another step next year. And so, Steve, where do you think this guy could fit? I don't know if he gets by 31 with the New England Patriots or not, if they want to go in a direction like that. But certainly, sometime soon, this guy's going to be taken off the board.
Well, Lamar Jackson has done a great job of improving year in and year out. and he's just going to continue to improve. He reminds me of Deshaun Watson. He's a guy that just gets better week in and week out. So I believe whoever gets him will get a guy who understands how to learn, and he will improve and get better.
The Atlanta Falcons select Calvin Ridley, wide receiver, Alabama.
Downfield to Ridley.
Calvin Ridley, wide receiver.
Ridley's playing with turbo speed.
A 2017 first team All-SEC selection.
Calvin Ridley.
At home with Calvin Ridley in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Presented by Oikos 000, overcoming with emotion right here. What a neat moment where the Falcons rise up. And he joins a heck of an offense. Just an absolute brilliant offense in Atlanta. And his old offensive coordinator for a hot minute, right, is there. And Steve Sarkisian, coordinating the offense. Michael Bennett is in Philadelphia. Sheldon Richardson is now in Minnesota. Jimmy Graham is now in Green Bay. Richard Sherman is now in San Francisco. I mean, the Legion of Boom is now just the Legion of Earl.
It's interesting. They move from 18 to 27, pick up extra picks, but still have the same players available to them. They either have to go edge or corner, in my opinion. The last remaining first-round value at edge is Harold Landry. If they want to go corner, there's some interesting conversations out there. Mike Hughes, Josh Jackson, who a lot of people want to compare to Richard Sherman, or Isaiah Oliver from Colorado. So, DJ, I think it's got to be one of those four guys.
Isaiah Oliver gives you that size, but also has the explosiveness. That's where I think that could be him over Josh Jackson. But the interesting thing with Josh Jackson, the comparison all along with him was your guy, Richard Sherman.
There's no question. And Richard wasn't the fastest guy, but he was long, he was physical, and can play in that style. Staying high and outside, be ready to drive down and make big tackles.
Right.
That guy could be a perfect fit.
The Seattle Seahawks select Rashad Penny, running back, San Diego State.
Okay.
How about that? Think he's going defense, they go offense. The premier kick returner and the full-time three-down back, Rashad Penny. He was the Mountain West Offensive and Special Teams Player of the Year. 8 kick return touchdown. I hate to say this, Coach, but his Stanford tape was outstanding.
I saw it firsthand. The guy is big, he's physical, he breaks tackles. He doesn't have the high-level speed that our top pick had, but this guy's special.
Yeah, and I call him a weaver. He's not a big make-your-miss guy, but at 220 pounds, he weaves. He makes that safety miss right there very easily. And then when you get him in the return game, I would say outside of Saquon Barkley, he's the best kickoff return guy in the country. 8 return touchdowns. He went to Mobile, Alabama, and I thought had an outstanding practice week. Finished it off with a big game. It's a little surprising he went that early, but if you look at Seattle and their recent history at the running back position, he brings some stability and can play all 3 downs.
Okay. Production.
First of all, the Oakland Raiders, who have moved around a little bit earlier in this draft, they are a team that's trying to come up from 2 into 1, and then the Chicago Bears would have to make a big leap. They're another team, Rich, trying to come all the way up.
All right, Ian Rappaport, the Pittsburgh Steelers are about to make their pick. And what we're about to see for the pick announcement, there's only one way to put it. It is inspirational, it is something else, and it is a sight for sore eyes.
We have a very special moment to make the announcement of the Pittsburgh Steelers selection. We are honored to have with us an extraordinary man who continues to amaze us with his unyielding determination and his unwavering spirit. We are so proud of him, and he inspires us all. Please welcome, joined by his fiancée Michelle, Ryan Shazier.
the 28th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Terrell Edmonds.
So Ryan Shazier walks out and welcomes into the mix. It's the first time in the NFL draft history that brothers are taken in the same first round. His brother Tremaine was taken by the Bills 16th overall. And now it is Terrell Edmonds taken 28th overall as announced by Ryan Shazier. That was an awesome moment.
I got chill bumps watching Ryan Shazier walk out there with his fiance.
Wow. Yeah, they can't.
Hey, guys,
it's so emotional. Prime, take it away. Welcoming Terrell Edmonds.
It's hard. That just tore me apart, guys. I apologize. I'm trying to be professional, but that got me.
Yes, sir.
God, praying for that gentleman. How special was that for you?
That was amazing, man. Just seeing a fantastic player like himself just actually calling my name, that was a blessing, honestly.
Played him a lot in the box. Could almost play dime linebacker. Big and explosive athlete. Box safety, dime linebacker. I think the key here is he can match tight ends. The Pittsburgh Steelers were looking for another safety, and you can see him just how physical he is at the point of attack. Finds the football, rips it out of the wide receiver's hands. Again, opens his hips, drives on the ball in zone coverage. Can you imagine those two brothers playing on the same defense?
The Pittsburgh Steelers, so often when they pick somebody, we look back and say, yep, that makes perfect sense. You see a big, physical, long safety that can cover. Absolutely, of course he's going to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And by the way, the Bills and Steelers do not play each other this year. Those are the two teams that drafted the Edmonds brothers, but they do play. They are scheduled to play in 2019. What do you think?
We've seen some of these veteran quarterbacks dodge the heir apparent. We saw it all the way up there with Eli Manning. We saw it with Drew Brees.
Right.
Is Blake Bortles going to be able to dodge it?
Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, exactly. Another one.
And obviously,
here we go.
You know.
The Jacksonville Jaguars select Taven Bryan, defensive tackle, Florida.
Okay. So
they are so good up front.
Gator.
Rich, they're so good up front. You start talking about Ngakoue, Malik Jackson, Calais Campbell. I mean, they've got to make a decision on Dante Fowler and his contract. This young man's a one-year starter at Florida. Explosive. Combine workout was absolutely outstanding. One-year wonder, high ceiling. He had Gerald McCoy measurables at the combine, but didn't have the same production coming out. He's a one gap and go, get up the field, defensive tackle. A natural three technique. You see that get off, coach? Pretty special. Now, part of the problem was in this game right here against Florida State, even though that's tremendous get off right there, I counted him on the ground 13 times against Florida State. So I thought I watched 4 tapes. 3 of them were outstanding. 1 of them was not. But his upside is through the roof. Watch him control the guard. Eyes on the football. Enough quickness to tackle Chubb.
Let's be honest here. If this team was named the New England Patriots, they'd be the favorites to make the Super Bowl and win it.
No question.
But the Jacksonville Jaguars, nobody really talks about them all that.
In a lot of people's
How
minds,
good is this team?
There are a lot of people's minds. That's the scuttlebutt you hear. These guys are so good on defense. Now they add another piece like that. And you see what they do the rest of the draft. They are in attack mode the entire game.
The Minnesota Vikings select Mike Hughes, defensive back, University of Central Florida.
Okay.
Goes deep again. The Cardinals intercepted.
A 2017 first team All-AAC selection. Mike Hughes, cornerback.
You like this move? It's a Mike Zimmer pick here, right?
Yeah, I like it a lot. They've already got Trey Wayans, a first-round pick at one corner. Xavier Rhodes is turning into one of the best in the league at another corner. But the nickel, Mackenzie Alexander, has not played great football, and I think this kid could come inside and compete day one.
Lamar Jackson, we're going to talk about him again, okay? We got 2 more picks in this round. The New England Patriots pick number 31. Philadelphia Eagles pick 32. which teams, first of all, why is he dropping like this, and which teams might come up and take him?
Well, let me just say, when I was studying him, I thought he was a day 2 guy. So I'm not surprised that he hasn't been taken off the board just yet. But I think a couple things hurt him, to be honest with you. He didn't time in the 40 at the combine. He didn't time in the 40 on his pro day. And I felt that when you're going into your pro day, you play to your strengths. And his strengths is his ability to run. He runs real fast. So I thought that maybe hurt him a little bit. The other thing is that he was going to be a guy who was going to sit back and learn. And because of his athletic ability and what he's able to do, would he have been willing to help a team, you know, with the ball in his hands? He's a home run threat every time. And maybe teams didn't feel that he'd be able to do that. And maybe that's what made him slide as well. I want to make one other point on Baker Mayfield. He's the one who obviously has surprised some people going as the #1 pick. What we didn't address was his height. You know, we haven't seen many guys at 6'1" or under that have had success, but I just want to say that I've always felt that height was vastly overrated at the quarterback positions. We've certainly seen a lot of different styles of quarterbacks come into the league and have success. At 6'4", I had problems at times seeing over offensive linemen. His left tackle at Oklahoma was 6'8". I don't think height is going to be a factor in this whatsoever. And as I said at the time of the pick, I think he's going to be outstanding.
Well, I agree with you. Height as a quarterback and a wide receiver is overrated. You don't have to think about it.
That's right.
But Lamar Jackson, I love the fact that he didn't run, because that means he doesn't want to go into the system saying he's not a quarterback. He is a quarterback.
All right, well, height as a quarterback, as a coach, is overrated. Let's go to the pick. Here's the commission.
With the 31st pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Sony Michel,
there you go,
running back, Georgia.
Okay, so in an offensive system that lost Dion Lewis and has had obviously James White, Rex Burkhead, we've seen it, how they use running backs like matchup nightmares. This is one, huh?
Even though he's a make-you-miss guy. Look at the jump cut there. Another cut the opposite way, now north and south. And look at that one. That's 3 in a row, and then the stiff arm. Look at him run through. He's more powerful than people think. So look at the hole. Now you've got a linebacker and a safety with an angle on him. I'm going to outrun that one. I'm going to outrun that one. I think with his ball in the hand, look at how tough he is. Vanderbilt, 4, 5, 6 guys. With the ball in his hands, I think he's as talented as Kamara. This is the part of the game where I don't think he's quite as advanced. I'm not saying he doesn't have good hands. I just don't think he's done as much pass receiving as Kamara has. But he's got an opportunity with Tom Brady in that offense.
So with 5 minutes left on the clock for the Philadelphia Eagles, they're either going to make this pick or they're fielding a ton of phone calls right now for teams that want to get into the first round and take who they want. And make sure that they get that in their back pocket before tomorrow and also get a 5th year of contractual control. So it's time now to ask who's tonight's best choice presented by Golden Corral. And I guess the Eagles will have to have the soft landing in a way of their championship to not be included in this possibility here, Mike. But what do you got for me?
Well, you know, we take a lot of shots over the years at the Jets, but they traded up from 6 to 3. They gave up 2 second rounds this year and a second round next year, but none of that will matter if this young man can play. And remember, when they made the move up, they didn't know if they were going to get their first quarterback, their second quarterback, or their third quarterback. I would advance my own opinion that they ended up with their #1 guy at number 3.
Okay, so we were talking about how somebody wants to trade back in, get contractual control, 5th year. Maybe it's for a quarterback, maybe it's not. The Eagles wanted to get out. That just happened.
Yeah.
And it's the Ravens who are now on the clock. Is this, do you think, for Lamar Jackson?
Makes sense.
I would jump up and down if this is who it is. And again, I said earlier in the night in my mock draft, I gave them the Baltimore because I think they have the infrastructure in place. They've got a backup quarterback named RG3, Robert Griffin III, who can play in that same system. Joe Flacco, since the Super Bowl win, has not played up to the level of his salary, and they can dump his contract next year. So a lot of things line up, a lot of dots connect. I'm hoping this is the Ravens going back up to get Lamar Jackson.
Well, you and I talked about this earlier on your show.
Yes, sir.
The X factor to me is Greg Roman. Greg Roman, who's a run game coordinator, offensive coordinator at the San Francisco 49ers for Colin Kaepernick. Very, very similar run scheme, very similar success with an athletic quarterback, both run and pass, and a guy that wasn't a great drop back passer. But what they did, you remember the 200 yards rushing against the Green Bay Packers and all those big runs that Colin had, and those big explosive pass games that he had with all those people stepping up to play the run. This could be a good fit.
With the 32nd pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Lamar Jackson.
There it is.
Wow. Quarterback, Louisville.
Okay.
Listen to this place go crazy right now.
There he is, the Heisman Trophy winner from a couple years ago. Michael Irvin giving him a nice hug, coming on out. I proffer to say, I look at researcher Bill Smith, this has to be the only first round in NFL draft history where the first pick of the night is a Heisman Trophy winner, and so is the last. Started with Baker Mayfield, and it finishes with Lamar Jackson going to the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm glad we've got two guys who have been in the draft room with Ozzie Newsome, Steve Bisciotti.
As general manager of the Ravens, be ahead of trends, Mike, and I think you're going to see this. It's a risk, it's a gamble, no question.
Well,
but they're going for it.
We talk about an electrifying upside, a little bit raw in the pass game, but the first time I threw the tape on with the whippy arm and the unbelievable skill and speed, I thought Michael Vick. And Coach, I agree, it's a commitment philosophically and schematically to a completely different type of football, and that whole building has to embrace it.
There's at some point, this guy might be the NFL Player of the Week. At some point this year, he's going to have one of those breakout games, no question.
I can see it in your eyes. I can see you a little bit upset, a little deterred. But guess what?
I'm here.
It's here. You're here.
I'm a Raven. It's on. All year, every year. Yes, sir.
What could you have done differently that you could have gotten out of that room quicker and got drafted earlier in your career?
Nothing. I'm happy to be a Raven. It don't even matter.
Yesterday does not matter. You're looking forward to today.
I'm looking forward to being a Raven.
What are they getting?
Everything out of me. They're going to get a Super Bowl out of me. Believe that. Yeah. Believe that.
Ozzie, man, I love you, man. Ozzie, you know I love you. I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
God bless you, Ozzie.
Yes, sir.
I can't wait to see you get down, man.
Yes, sir.
And spectacular player in this draft. Now, in the pass game, when it's his first read, he's pretty good. Okay, he can throw with touch and accuracy. Little bootleg, comes off it, make you miss. Now set and throw. Eyes up, beats you down the field. Look where this ball drops in. There's ability there. In the pass game, he's a little behind where Deshaun Watson was a year ago. The first look, resets his feet. Now watch. Are you kidding me? You can't even describe that. That's so easy, and he's going to do it at the next level. Now, there's a Boston College defender right in there, and he doesn't see it. There's times where he stares things down. He doesn't see underneath coverage. He struggles in the pocket when that first look isn't there. But I said the same thing about Deshaun Watson a year ago, okay? Bill O'Brien did a phenomenal job with them last year. He became the most spectacular player in the league. And Troy, I know he's got a long way to go in the pass game. I get it, but he doesn't necessarily have to play immediately. And they're going to commit to him philosophically. What's your take on this whole move?
I think if you look at him, he's been well coached. Coming from the Louisville offense and Bobby Petrino, he probably ran more pro concepts than Baker Mayfield at Oklahoma in a more complicated offense than what Sam Darnold ran at USC. So the fact that he's able to sit back and watch and learn a little bit more and become a little bit more accurate as a passer certainly is going to serve him well. But he's a dynamic player, and when you watch him every week with the ball in his hands, he does things I've never seen anyone do other than maybe Barry Sanders as a running back.
He's an unbelievable athlete. He's gotten better year in and year out. He's worked on things. My comparison to Deshaun Watson, meaning everything you doubted him about everything you doubted in college, he has shown that he's improved year in and year out.
So it started with a Heisman Trophy winner in the AFC North and ended with a Heisman Trophy winner going to the AFC North. How about that? Lamar Jackson and now Baker Mayfield joining the AFC North. What a night it was.